Hi, my name is Alicia, and welcome to another Read With Me or a reading vlog, whatever you'd like to call it. Happy March 2024. So, I'm in a book club back in Texas. I live overseas, but I'm in a book club with three other women. So, there's four of us in it, and our book club pick for this month is The Teacher by Frida McFadden. It's a very new book. It just came out last month in February 2024. If you have Kindle Unlimited in America, it is free on KU. It is about 402 pages. I know pages vary depending on reading it on a Kindle or paperback, hardback, whatever. But according to Amazon, it's 402 pages. And it already has, for only being out for a month, it has over 140,000 reviews. My gosh, between Amazon and Goodreads, and between a 4.0 and a 4.3 star. So that's very impressive. On the front, it just says, "A lesson she'll never forget." The synopsis is so vague. It's so vague. And I really want to do this reading vlog with y'all, but I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, there must be a reason why it's extremely vague. It just says that there's a woman named Eve. She is married to her husband named Nate. Eve is a high school math teacher. And then the next paragraph just jumps into the high school that Eve works at had an affair last year. And it was between a student and a teacher. And the student was someone named Addie. And apparently Addie lies, she can't be trusted. What did it say? She destroys lives. But then in the next paragraph, it says Addie will do anything to keep that quiet. She will do anything to keep people from finding out the truth about her. So did Addie and Eve have this relationship? It's unclear. It's such a vague synopsis. I just go and read it. Go and read that synopsis. And then also the book starts off, let me turn it on. The book starts off in the prologue, and it just captures you from the jump. What's it called? A good hook. Digging a grave is hard work. It's the first thing it says. Digging a grave is hard work. And then I only made it to the next page, but somebody is digging a grave and their muscles are hurting. So that's where we're at. I'm actually about to leave and go to my nail appointment. So I'm gonna read this while I'm at the nail salon and just let y'all know a little bit more. All right, bye. The crosswalk sign though, I guess you can't really see it, but I wish I could zoom in more. That's as far as I can zoom in. But it's a man with a cowboy hat, and I just love that. I love that so much. Oh my gosh, so I was in the wrong lane and it made me turn. It made me make a right turn. And now I'm in this parking garage and I don't know how to get out of it. Literally everything is in Japanese. It didn't make me get a ticket whenever I when I drove in, but I'm wondering if I have to pay to exit this parking garage. I don't even know how to get out of here. Anyways, before I go inside, let's talk about the book real quick. In the prologue, so this person, we don't know who it is. We don't know if it's a man or a woman. I mean, all we know is there's a woman named Eve that's a teacher. She has a husband named Nate, and then there's a student named Addie. That's all we know about. So in the prologue, somebody is digging a grave. We don't know who, and apparently it's freezing cold. The temperature keeps dropping, but whoever's digging this grave is just sweating, but then their sweat is freezing. But then they also took off their jacket because they're just digging so hard. They're 2 feet in and thinking, well, in the movies, you always dig 6 feet, so I should dig 6 feet. So this person's doing that. And then, okay, the sun is setting and this person is thinking, I really need to get back to work. Where do you work? Because if you're a teacher, you're off work. Teachers get off work anywhere between, 2:30 p.m. to 4 p.m., at least in America. So if the sun is setting and you need to get back to work, is it Addie digging the grave? Because Addie's a student. So if you're a student, you typically work nights. I don't know. We don't know who's digging this grave. And then they're thinking in their inner monologue, this is so much easier when I have my partner with me, but my partner is no longer here. It's just me doing this solo. So this person, I guess, buries bodies often and has a partner usually to help dig the grave.
It's taking place in the middle of the woods. I don't know if I already said that. But then they're like, the person's trying to be really quiet, digging as quiet as you can when you're digging, but then they start hearing crackling sounds, like branches snapping. And the person literally says out, hello? But then in the inner monologue is thinking, if anyone catches me, I have no excuse for this. There's a dead body next to me. I'm going to prison for life with no chance of parole. That all happens in the inner monologue. And then whoever is digging this grave and hearing this noise starts thinking, I need to breathe very quietly. I need to breathe super quietly. I need to hold my breath actually so that no one can hear me. Yet you said hello with a bunch of question marks at the end of it. I'm sorry, what? But anyways, that's the prologue. They're digging a grave. They thought they hear a noise. It's not what they thought. They used to have a partner. They don't anymore. There's literally a dead body that they are burying in the middle of the woods on a freezing cold evening, and whoever it is needs to get back to work. So there's that. The first chapter starts and it says 3 months earlier. So 3 months before somebody was digging a grave. The first chapter is from Eve's perspective, from her point of view. It is morning time. She is getting ready for school, and her and her husband are in the bathroom, and she seems to be very unhappy with her husband. They've been together for 8 years. Everyone always talks about how incredibly lucky she is to be with him. And it just has to do with looks because apparently he's extremely handsome and she's very plain Jane. However, as she's getting ready, she slips on a pair of Jimmy Choo stilettos. So she then starts talking about her extensive shoe collection and how that's the only compliment that she ever gets is how amazing her shoes are. But then she's thinking about the house that they live in and how they could barely afford it because they're both, Nate and Eve are both teachers, and they could barely afford this home on a dual teacher salary. Yet at the same time, she's wearing brand new Jimmy Choos, which those start at $695. They start at $700, and that's just at Nordstrom. If you get on the Jimmy Choo website, they normally start at 800, at $795 a pop. And I just looked this up because I wanted to see. So I don't understand. And then she lies to her husband because he's staring at her shoes and saying, Eve, when did you get those? And she just straight up lies to him and said, oh, I've had these for years. You don't remember? Actually, I think I wore them last year also on the first day of school, because right now as they're getting ready, it's the first day of school, which I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher back in the States. You stand on your feet for an 8-hour day. You're on your feet at least 6.5, 7 hours. So how are you wearing Jimmy Choo stilettos as a math teacher? I don't know. That doesn't make sense, but it'll probably get explained. But then they start going to school. They drive to school, and in her inner monologue, she's just hoping that they get hit by an 18-wheeler and it kills them both instantly. She literally thinks that. So she's wildly unhappy in her marriage, but also just with her life. And then the second chapter starts, and it's from Addie's perspective. And all I read was that Addie has no desire to go to school, and then I stopped reading because it was really loud in the nail salon. So I'm home now. I'm gonna go inside and start making dinner, but then I'm gonna keep reading and I'll let y'all know what's going on.
It's too early to make dinner, so I'm just over here reading. So we're in Addie's point of view right now. It's the first day of school. She doesn't want to go. She would have skipped school, and her mom knows it because of what happened last year. And so her mom took off work to take her to school. Her mom's a nurse at the hospital, but she took the whole day off. Oh, sorry, I thought I heard something. To make sure that Addie goes to school today and stays at school all day. And it's really sad because she asked her mom to switch schools, but I guess wherever they live, there's only this one high school, so she has to go. And her mom just keeps saying, the summer came and went, and everyone probably already forgot about what happened last year. And Addie is just thinking, what planet do you live on? We are teenagers. Like, we all remember what happened last year. And as she's walking through school, people are whispering, and everybody is staring at her. And I don't know, it's just making me feel really bad. I mean, I was a teacher back in the States, and bullying or thinking other people are talking about you or whispering about you, or even just knowing that they really are, that's really hard. That's really hard. But it seemed like there wasn't any other place for her to go to, because the other high school would have been way too far away. Her mom wouldn't have been able to drive her, and the bus wouldn't come and pick her up. And then Addie asked to be homeschooled, and her mom said no because her mom works. So she's just trying to get to class right now, and everyone just keeps whispering, you know what she did, right? She's the one who ... And now I want to know. I mean, is it the affair with the teacher? Is that what they're talking about? Wouldn't that be more the teacher's problem? I mean, I guess people would still get onto the student or blame the student for it too, but I don't know. If she's really a junior, she is absolutely a minor. So that's just an imbalance of power if a teacher took advantage of her. But remember, Addie's supposed to be evil, so we'll see. Hi, welcome to my kitchen. It is the next day. Let me just set that down. Just made a sandwich and some chips, got my water, exercised for the day, got ready. I have read a little bit more. Okay, that book club that I'm in, that we're reading this book, The Teacher, one of the girls has already finished it, and she said she was actually confused by the ending, but she's wondering if she read it way too quickly because she had to return it to the library. So I guess she checked it out and had to get it back in a certain amount of time. So she read this book extremely quickly. I want to say in 2 days, she's already done because she had to get it back. So she said the ending really confused her, but maybe she's thinking maybe she was just rushing it, but she can't wait for all of us to finish it so she can talk about it. So there's that. And then the other girl that's in our group, she's listening to it on audiobook, and she's halfway through it and she's just losing her mind and saying, oh my gosh, so much is happening just halfway. I am still in the beginning, and I don't know what all to update y'all on because I don't want to spoil anything. So I feel like I'm giving y'all a lot more updates now in the beginning of the book, because as we get really into it, I'm not gonna be able to tell y'all as much. So at the moment, we've met some characters. So Kinsey, who's the girl? Addie. Addie is at school. There is a girl named Kinsey, and I guess she's a bully, and she's very beautiful. And I don't know, Kinsey seems to be pretty terrible. At the moment, Addie is still a likable character, but I know Addie's the one that we're not supposed to like. So we've met Kinsey, and then there's someone named Hudson, and I guess Hudson has known, he and Addie have known each other since grade school. They've known each other, I mean, almost their entire lives, and now Hudson is buddy-buddy with Kinsey. I can't really tell if they're dating or not, but Hudson is wanting nothing to do with Addie because of the circumstances that happened last school year. And then we have met, who else? Oh, okay, so Eve is the teacher. She has a teacher friend named Shelby, which is weird because my friend Shelby is the reason why we're all reading this book. But Eve and Shelby are co-teachers, and it's still throwing me off that Eve is wearing Jimmy Choo stiletto heels to school, and Shelby as well is wearing Nine West pumps. So, I mean, there's that. That's throwing me off. And then they keep talking about the teacher that was forced to resign last year. His name is Art Tuttle, or Arthur Tuttle, and apparently there wasn't a ton of proof of what happened. It hasn't said anything happened between Art Tuttle and Addie. It just says that Art was forced to resign. A lot of parents were calling the school. There were a lot of rumors going around, but I'm sure it has something to do with Addie. And then I don't believe this is any sort of spoiler to tell y'all this at all, because this book is about a teacher and a student, but Eve has Addie as her student this year. She's on her roster. She has her first 6th period. We're still on the first day. It's still before first period starts, so Eve and Addie haven't run into each other. And I think that's it. Those are all the people that we've met so far. Addie has gotten through half of the day at school. People are still whispering loudly around her, so they're not being quite nice. And she's at lunch right now and trying to figure out where to sit, which is, I know how that feels. We all know how that feels because no one likes her. So she's standing there with her tray of food and trying to figure out what table am I going to go to so I can eat my food. But I am going to eat my food, and then I need to go to the grocery store, and then I'll come back and read some more and update y'all. All right, bye. Okay, sorry. I just need to throw in real quick before I go to the grocery store because I just finished eating. I messed up in that last clip. So it's the first day of school before first period when we meet Kenzie, Hudson, the other teacher, Shelby, that's all happening before first period. And so now that we're halfway through the day and Addie's trying to figure out, where to sit in the cafeteria, I don't know what's going on with Eve or Shelby, because the last time we saw them, it was before first period, and now we're at the halfway mark. So I'm pretty sure, I'm assuming in the next chapter, it's going to be Addie meeting Eve because she's got to go to her 6th period class. But yeah, I realized in that last clip I was talking about how it's still morning time, and then I say, oh yeah, and then Addie's going to lunch. She's halfway through the day. Vlogging is hard. Sometimes I just get really tongue-tied, and I think I've told you all that before. Okay, well, I'm gonna go to the store, and I can't really read this on the train because I get motion sick, but it's only 2 stops away. I'm gonna do a little bit of grocery shopping, come back, and then hopefully I can just read for the rest of the day. Okay, it is an absolutely gorgeous day, but it is still a little bit chilly, and I'm just wondering if I'm gonna regret not putting on a sweater or a jacket, like a thicker sweater. Okay, it's been confirmed that Addie is absolutely a junior in high school. We still don't know her age yet, but I'm thinking 16 to 17 years old, which is disgusting if she really did have an affair with a teacher. Oh my goodness. But we've met another character. Her name is Ella Curtis. She is also a junior. Apparently she's 10 pounds skinnier than everybody else in the junior class, so she's really easy to spot out. And it says in here that Addie typically wouldn't hang out with her, hasn't really talked to her in the last couple of years, but Ella's just waving her down in the cafeteria saying, Addie, over here, over here. And then Addie walks over, and then Ella says, hey, I just felt bad for you, just standing there because nobody wants to sit with you. Okay. All right, so Addie has kind of made a friend. Also, I have my Kindle propped up on a candle. Isn't that cute? Eve is so dumb. She's so dumb. So she has this shoe addiction and literally just bought those brand new Jimmy Choo stilettos that were, I'm sure, $700 to $800, and lied to her husband about it. She just purchased them 2 weeks ago. And now the school day is over and she's at the mall shopping and looking at some Christian Louboutin pumps. And she flips the shoe over, realizes how expensive they are, and then thinks, what if I just put them in my purse? My purse is big enough to hold a pair of shoes. No one would even know. The cashier isn't even paying attention to me. She's been scrolling on her phone, and now someone is checking out, and it's an older person, and they're taking forever. She'll never notice me, and I don't see any cameras in the store. High heels never have any sort of security tags on them. I'll just put them in my giant light blue purse, and no one will ever know the difference. And then, of course, as she walks out of the store, the alarm goes off. And then the chapter ends. So then we get to Addie. Eve, what a ridiculous teacher. Anyways, now we're at Addie, and Addie is taking the school bus home. She's out of school for the day, and it says that she turned 16 over the summer leading into her junior year. So if something went down her sophomore year with that teacher, Mr. Tuttle, she was 15 years old, which she's still denying it, by the way, because that girl at lunch, Ella, was asking her 1,001 questions. That's why Ella offered for Addie to sit with her. She wanted to know the scoop, and Addie just kept saying, literally nothing happened. Nothing happened. But she was 15, and now she's 16, and I just... she's a young one. She's a young junior, because that means she'll be 17 this summer going into senior year, which means she'll be 17 when she graduates, because she'll turn 18 a month or two after graduation. But yeah, that's where we are right now. A couple of other things have happened, but I mean, I don't know what I can tell y'all. I don't know what's a spoiler, what's not a spoiler. So right now we just have Eve being a kleptomaniac and Addie being a really young minor. I mean, I know a minor means you're under the age of 18, but she's a young minor, especially if she really did have something to do with that teacher who was in his 50s and she was 15. I do have to say, Frida McFadden knows how to keep the plot going and keep a book going. She keeps you so interested. And I swear, every chapter, whether it's minor or not, it ends on a cliffhanger. And then it goes into the next character's point of view. So it's Eve, Addie. That's how it's been. And every time something happens, like something just happened with Addie, and then boom, we go into Eve's chapter. Frida McFadden, I think she's such an incredible author. I've read 3 of her books, so this is only my 4th one, and I know she has a ton out, and I do want to ultimately read her entire backlist, but she's keeping me interested, and she's keeping me guessing. Okay, I'm not condoning anything that may or may not have happened between Mr. Tuttle and Addie, because right now it's still really unclear. Addie is still denying it, at least to us, the reader, and to that one girl at lunch. And then Eve has run into Art, Mr. Tuttle. She's run into him at the grocery store, and they're just talking about how he was also a math teacher. He was a sophomore math teacher, so he had Addie in his class, and she was struggling, and so he would tutor her after school alone in his classroom. And as me being a teacher back in the States, that was one thing that they drilled into us. You could not, I mean, I guess you could, but you had to be so careful about it. They did not want one teacher and one student ever alone in a classroom. They talked about it so much. We had so many professional development meetings, and that was always brought up. You needed to have all your windows open, you needed to have your door open, but really there needed to be at least 2 students in your room if you were going to be tutoring after school. And it would also help if in the hallway there were other teachers maybe that were there after school that would kind of pop in here and there to have witnesses, just for protection. And yeah, Art would tutor Addie alone in his classroom, which, I mean, that can raise suspicions, and that can give Addie all the more leverage to lie about anything that happened, because who's gonna know? Who's gonna know the truth or not? I mean, Art can say his side of the story, but then Addie can say her side of the story, and it just, I hope Art is innocent. He seems like a really sweet man, and I'm feeling really bad. Hey, so it's the next day again. I'm sorry. I just need to get that put on a t-shirt. But I have been reading. I've been reading this. We're getting to the point where I can't really tell y'all a lot because I don't want to spoil anything. But at the moment, I still am under the impression that Mr. Tuttle, Arthur Tuttle, Art Tuttle, whatever you want to call him, the teacher that was forced to resign, he was not fired. He was just forced to quit. We're still under the impression that he's innocent in this whole thing. And with Addie, she's still not as evil as we're supposed to think that she is, according to the synopsis. I mean, it literally said she's evil. Still haven't got that vibe from her. However, there was a comment made that Addie said in her inner monologue. She said something about when her and Mr. Tuttle were caught, she kept changing her story slightly just to throw everybody off. So I believe that's why he was forced to resign. They couldn't technically fire him because there was not proof of an inappropriate relationship. However, Addie's story kept changing depending on who she talked to, whether she talked to her mom, whether she talked to police, whether she talked to the principal. She kept switching it up just a little bit, tiny little details here and there. And so it made it seem as if she was trying to hide something. So why? I don't know why she did that. We still don't know. Other than that, I mean, nothing else is going on with Addie. I mean, yeah, obviously that's a very evil thing to do, but I don't know, the synopsis made it seem like she was just a full-on awful person, and at the moment she's not, besides that one thing. I'm not condoning it, but I'm just saying, as we've been reading along, that's it. So that's what I have right now. Okay, is this just a thing that happens at other schools but did not happen at the school that I taught at? I was a substitute for a little bit at a different ISD, and then I fully taught at another school. And Actually, it's not even Addie. Teachers keep offering Addie a ride home. You cannot, at my school, you could not be alone with a student. You could not offer them a ride home. It does not matter if it's snowing, if it's raining, if it's hailing. You can't do that because you're opening other pathways. Other things can happen when that starts happening. And teachers just keep offering her rides home because she, takes her bicycle to school or she's taking the bus to school. And no, absolutely not. Okay, look, I was never bullied in school. So I don't know if I'm even allowed to be making this comment right now, but Addie, it's the bullying is out of control. There have been 3 instances, and it's a lot. That's a lot. Where are the teachers? Where are the teachers? And again, I can suspend my belief for this book. This book is still in the 5-star territory at the moment. So it's fine. I'm just ranting about things. But the bullying it's awful. It's so bad. But the type of bullying, the situations that are happening to Addie, I don't want to say anything. But what is happening to her, where are the teachers? Because again, at the school that I taught at, every time the bell rang, there are 8 classes a day. Every single time the bell rang, the teachers were required to go out into the hallway. We had to stand out in the hallway until the next bell rang, and we had a 4-minute passing period. Now, the school that I substitute taught at, oh my goodness, it's a massive school. I swear that was a miniature college, that high school. And so they had a 7-minute passing period. But we were required to stand in the hallway and just keep the traffic going. Make sure kids are going to their classrooms. No one's loitering about. No one's being bullied or getting. It's a lot, and it's making me feel so bad for Addie because it's intense. It's just been made so clear that Eve and Nate are in a loveless marriage, and that makes me feel really sad for them because they've been together for 8 years, or married for 8 years. I don't know how long they were together before they got married, but they've been married for 8 years, and they are not a happy couple. I don't know why they are choosing to stay married to each other, but also in this book, it's just constantly, he's always doted on. He's so handsome. He's such a good guy. He's perfect. How is he with Eve? How did Eve get Nate? How did that come about? But then Eve's mom can't stand him. She's happy that they have yet to conceive. She's happy that Eve is still not pregnant. So, the mom knows something. But as the reader, we're supposed to think that this is just the best husband in the world. But then behind closed doors, when he's with Eve, he's just blah. And Eve is she's really sad about it. And I know there's always twists, but who do I feel bad for? Should I feel bad for Nate or should I feel bad for Eve? Because the story is having you feel so bad for Eve because this poor woman who just turned 30, she just had her birthday, and he didn't want to do anything but go to a really cheap Italian restaurant because the other one was too expensive, even though it's her 30th birthday. But it's making you feel bad for her, but then I'm just wondering, I don't know, they're so heavy on Nate is such a great person and he's just so happy and he's so full of life. No, he's not. He's not. So should I feel bad for him? Is something going on behind closed doors? Is Eve a psychopath and we don't know that? Should I feel bad for Nate or should I feel bad for Eve? We just got a twist with Addie and Hudson. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So Addie and Hudson have been friends since grade school, since they were itty bitty little kids. And they've always hung out together through elementary, middle, and then high school. Well, now, I guess with some other things that happened last school year when they were in 10th grade, something else also happened. And that is also part of the reason why they're not talking. Oh my gosh. Hi, Audie. My cats love making cameos. But Oh my gosh, that twist just came out. It was just the last sentence of the chapter. And then, of course, the next chapter goes into Eve's chapter because it alternates. And Freida McFadden knows how to write a book. One of Addie's teachers, I don't know, it's making me uncomfortable because he's aware that she's getting bullied. She will not say who is bullying her because she thinks it's going to make it worse, that the bully will get in trouble and then make Addie's life even more awful than it already is, at least during the school day. And so the teacher has all of the students do this assignment. He has Addie do a different assignment though. He wants her to write just a short story on what Addie would do if she could have 5 minutes alone with her bully. And he just wants her to put all of her emotion into this story. What would you do if you had 5 minutes alone with the person that is just making your life miserable? And then she turns it in, she writes it, but the teacher never grades it and never gives it back to her. So is that going to be used towards something else? Because that's words on paper. Granted, it was an assignment, but you could always just say that it wasn't. A teacher could lie and just say, I found this in her journal and I stole it because this is terrible information that I read. I don't know. That's very strange coming from a teacher. This whole book, everyone is so unreliable. I don't know who to trust. Why is Addie taking a trigonometry class? I honestly didn't even know that was offered in high school. For me, 9th grade, we took Algebra 1, 10th grade, Geometry, 11th grade, Algebra 2, and then you were done with your math credits. If you wanted, sorry, I think my cat just sneezed. If you wanted your senior year, you could take pre-cal or full-on calculus, but trigonometry. Addie is in a trigonometry class, and I wrote the question down, and I tried to Google it, and I couldn't find an answer, but it's about angles and depression. But listen to this question, because she's taking her midterm in her trig class that Eve teaches. It says, a swimmer has to retrieve an object 15 feet away from the wall of the swimming pool. If the angle of depression of the object from the pool platform is 30 degrees, find the vertical distance they have to swim in order to retrieve the object. Addie was already failing math last year, which Art Tuttle was the math teacher in 10th grade. And I don't know what math he taught, but she was already doing terrible in that class, which is why they were together a lot, because he was tutoring her. And now in 11th grade, she's in trig. What are you doing in trigonometry? I just didn't even know that was offered. And I wish she could just be put in a different class. Also, Eve is a terrible teacher. I mean, she's great at teaching. She's really fast though. She doesn't slow down for anybody, but she's so mean to Addie. Eve is not nice to Addie because Art was Eve's friend. Okay, have y'all ever heard of Snapchat? The app where, I don't have it. I used to have it in the past. What is it? Is it your messages disappear after 24 hours? And if you try to take a screenshot, it tells the person? Well, in this book, they have something called Snap Flash. And your message or your picture disappears after 60 seconds. And so people will look down at the message and you better read it quickly or it goes away. But Snap Flash, it's used a lot in this book. I am waiting for my car to warm up. My car is 20 years old over here. It's a 2004 and it is currently the year 2024. But anyways, with the book, what is happening? I'm at the 50% mark and so much has gone down. So much is happening with every character, all of them. And I don't even know if I've introduced you to every character. I think I have. Wow. I think I'm reaching the point where I don't know if I'm going to be able to give y'all any more updates because I'm not spoiling it for y'all. I don't want to do that, but it's so good. It is still currently in 5-star territory. Oh my gosh, I just had a mom in my building text me because she's out of town, and her daughter lost her first tooth today, and her daughter also knows the dad's handwriting. So the mom texted me and asked if I would write a tooth fairy card for her daughter. So I just wrote one, and I'm gonna go give it to the dad to, I guess, slide under her pillow tonight while she's sleeping. But oh my gosh, I was the tooth fairy.
Okay, her name is Gwen. And then I have these blank donut cards. Look what I did. Gwen, you lost your first tooth, and it's a beautiful pearly white that I'm excited to add to my collection. Thank you so much for leaving it for me. I left you a little surprise. Keep up the great work. Love, the tooth fairy. And then I just added some stickers I had from being a teacher. Job well done. Stay focused. Big day.
I'm walking to their place right now. I'm gonna leave this at their front door and then text the mom to tell the dad to come out and grab this. Hey, so it's the next day. Again, I am almost done with this book. There have already been so many twists. We've got the police involved. Let's go back to that prologue and figure out who was digging a grave for whom. This book is so good. I don't even know what to say. My jaw is on the floor. I had to pick it up and then come back on here and talk to y'all. If you have read it, please let me know, because there's two questions that I have, and I don't want to say them here because I don't want to spoil anything. 5 stars. That was a 5-star psychological thriller. Oh my gosh. Every single person, they're awful. They're all awful people. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for coming along with me on this journey. Oh my gosh. Please read this book. Please read this book. Please read this book. Trigger warnings? I'm not sure if there are any trigger warnings. There was nothing stated at the beginning of the book. My triggers are torture, so there wasn't that. So I don't know, look up content warnings if you need to. It was just a psychological thriller. Oh my gosh, it was so good. I need to read more of her books. This is her 4th book that I've read. Wow, there were so many, like, twist after twist after twist, and then you get into the epilogue and there's one more twist, and you're just, what? You think someone's come out on top, and they're just as bad. Read this book, and then please let me know, because I have 2 specific questions. I don't want to necessarily say that they're plot holes, but I think they are. And I need to talk to somebody about this. And I know I'm reading this with my book club back in the States, but only one person has finished it. And she actually has questions about the ending. So I can't wait to talk about it with her. But the other 2 women that are in the group, they're both listening to it on audiobook. One's halfway through, one's on chapter 5. So it's going to be a minute before I can talk to anybody or any of them about it. So please, read this book, and y'all have a good rest of your day. All right, bye. One more thing. The age of consent in Massachusetts is 16 years old. 16-year-olds are considered an adult and are considered to be consenting adults in the state of Massachusetts. Okay, bye.